cleaned up and painted the rear flanges which go on the end of the drive shafts, and these are the bits that got baked to get them off, and I've removed all the wheel studs. Now the reason I removed the wheel studs is I'm putting in new wheel studs, not just to replace them, but because the wheels I'm putting on use a bigger stud than the wheels I've took off, and because I use a bigger stud I had to get the old ones out. Now I was dreading this, thinking I'm going to have to drill that. I'll have to work out what size that I need to drill so that the splines can lock in, but a strange thing is they use exactly the same size spline and just don't waste down so much after it. So all I've got to do is press these in. So I have this massive detailed jig, which is basically a V-block with a socket sat on top of it, and hopefully using this vise I shall press all of these into them two hubs. So there are actually sort of splines already in there, as obviously this has had things in it before. I'm going to get that in there and then just give it some beans. And that's fully home and nicely fitted. 7 more to do. Now these drive shafts, obviously these have been quite problematic to get to this stage. The flange didn't want to come off the shaft. The bearing didn't want to come off. Luckily they're pretty much undamaged. I mean, there's only minor, even noticeable wear there, but this bit is hideous, simply put. So that's going to get coat of paint, and in order to get it ready for paint I have the rather aggressive like new, other than that bit. One brand shiny new needle roller bearing. Flat side, rounded side. Rounded side goes in. Gel encouragement stick. Now the seal goes in the reverse way that you think, because most seals go in so that they, in effect, go in like this. Well, this one goes in the other way round, so that I suppose when you're greasing it up, the grease can get past. But for this one we're going to use the vise. Now we have a shaft. Now the shaft has been cleaned up and painted and is all pretty, and it's got a nice new joint on the end, and it's all beautiful and ready to go. Now I'm going to put that on it and and drive the bearing home. A little bit of lubrication to aid things along. Cool. Beautiful. The one end of this is already welted and the other end is nice. So I'll just give this a few little gentle taps, see if it's going to go on or whether I might need to heat it up a bit. Now we're there. There is basically no distance between this end of the bearing and here. Here's a key. There is a little divot in here where it goes up to. Important to fit it, but not mushroom it. So I'm going to have a look at the picture and I'm going to make sure I put all the rest of the bits on right and don't do the trick of forgetting something. Bolting that on, that's going on at 110 foot-pounds, which I think is approximately 150 newton meters, which is a lot. So torque wrench. I just hope this thread has got enough life in it that it'll take that torque. But first you've got to put the rest of the hub together. So I'll go get the rest of the hub and I'll review the picture. It was very valuable reviewing the picture before you go for it. Grease fitting. I've placed this gasket on here. It's just held on there with a light film of oil to just stop it being a pain in the backside. Now I'm going to turn this round so that it's sat upright so that gravity is on my side. Got this set up nicely now, so that should be easy to work on. Now I've already fitted off camera a seal into this seal carrier. This seal carrier was a bit grotty, but I've given it a shine up and it's got plenty of bars left in it. The seal on this side is how it should be, so the seal points inwards towards where the grease is. So, and place that on there like that. So that seal in there obviously doesn't touch the shaft. That seal's on here when I drive this in. Just like that. If any grease gets past this seal, it causes it to go downwards, not spray the brakes. Put that on there. Now, you have these tab washers that go in there that you bend up. That stop the bolts coming undone. That's horrible. Shiny, shiny. So now there's a little bit jiggery pokery, because you've got to get these bolts through all of them layers. Just get the thread started. So they're all touching now, and I'm just going to do them up in turn. To do an opposite. Okay. Lift the hub. So, keys aligned. Hub has dropped into place. Washer. Nut. I've already set the torque wrench to 149, which is a lot. Right, that's now home, but I'm not tight. Before I tighten it, I'm going to refer back to the manual and make sure I've fitted everything. Because once you lock that onto that taper, we're getting off involved fire. So, nice and tight. A little bit of copper ease on the brake adjusters. First thing to fit is the little handbrake doodad, which fits. There's a tiny little indentation in the backing plate here. And I've just got to get it facing the right way now. Which I think is like that. Yes. Then we have our... This can only go in one way round because this indentation is the other part holding that in. So it goes like this. Handbrake! To hold that on, we have these two clips which basically slide together, and then these little holes interlock. You're not going to be able to see this because it's underneath, but I'm going to do that now. And that's in. Something you rarely see on a car of this age, the rubber cover. So that's the brake cylinder. This is the brake adjuster. Quite a simple but clever piece of kit. This square threaded section drives through here, and it's got like a four-sided wedge there which drives these out as that screws in, giving you brake adjustment. That just drops in there. Shape-proof washers, or spring washers. They're nuts. I'm not using nylox here because brakes get warm, to say the least. So if I was to use something that relied on plastic not to undo, when the plastic melts, they would no longer be effective. The spring at the bottom has got a very, very unusual shape to it. And you go in a hole and out of a hole. And then the same on the other side. You go in a hole and out of a hole. So that's the bottom spring. Now the top spring is a lot simpler. That just goes in and in. So now I have the springs. Right, so let's try and get these on. One. Two. Three. Four. Pin, spring, washer, washer. 2 little screws. Done. So.